Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. Today on Sue's Healthy Minutes, I want to share an It's the Bread story that was emailed to me just a few weeks ago. My heavy travel schedule right now is making it difficult to set up times to do live interviews. On August 1st, I was at Crossroads Ministries in Daytona Beach. They hosted me to come share my Real Bread, the Staff of Life presentation. Over 400 people attended. It was an amazing event, and we had the opportunity to meet many wonderful people. My team and I were able to enjoy a little much needed downtime at the beach before returning home. Then on August 14th and 15th, we were off to Oxford, Mississippi to the Need Your Cure conference, where I was a speaker along with a great lineup of other health professionals across many fields of expertise. It's an annual conference that I am honored to be a part of, and I encourage you to check it out. But as these speaking requests increase, my time is becoming limited, but I love hearing and sharing your stories, and some are too encouraging to hold on to while I wait for an opportunity to connect for an interview. Such is the story today. I'm going to just read the email as it was sent to me. Hi, Sue. I feel compelled to write to you today, as I know in my heart that your message about real bread is the answer to what plagues our society today with a lot of our health issues. First, a little about me. I was sick frequently as a child, and I had 2 major operations before I was 19. A cyst above my ovaries that was as big as a grapefruit, and a ruptured disc in L5 when I was only 18. I had major constipation most of my life. I maybe went once a week, but I remember how hard it was to go, and I used suppositories and laxatives often to try to alleviate this. In college, my dorm mates had a poop chart on the stall door for me. Laugh out loud. I had a lot of allergies and asthma, as well as other things like nearsightedness and poor gum health. I discovered eating nutritionally for my health when I was in my early 30s. A man who worked with me always had such good energy and positivity, and when I asked him how he had such high energy, he began telling me how food had energy and that it would translate to me if I ate the right foods. He gave me some book recommendations and turned me on to eating organic. Well, long story short, I then began eating raw vegan, and it started my transformational journey to health. After some detoxifying symptoms, rashes, etc., I started feeling this amazing energy and wellness. But after 6 months, it all changed. I started feeling tired and weak and found out that I had developed a vitamin B12 deficiency. So I went back to eating meat and realized I need it in my diet to be healthy. That first introduction to health by food started me on a long journey to discovering health naturally. I have been exploring and fine-tuning my lifestyle to be healthy since then. In fact, it is my top priority in my life. I am now 58 and no longer have allergies or asthma, and I have 20/20 vision. Yay, no more glasses. I never get sick, and I never had COVID, and I didn't take the vaccine. I'm very conscientious with what I put in my body, only whole foods, no preservatives, and on my body, no perfumes or even sunscreen, etc. I have taken all my metal fillings out of my mouth, and I don't use fluoride. I sparingly ate bread because of the lack of nutrients. If I ate it, I made it homemade, but it never sat right in my stomach. I'd always eat cake, dessert, or ice cream only on special occasions. I didn't have a gluten intolerance, but I always felt like I couldn't digest it properly. The one thing that was better but not perfect was my bowel movements. I got to the place where I went approximately every 2 to 3 days, or sometimes, if I was lucky, every other day. When I did go, I knew it wasn't normal, but I went way more than when I was younger, so I figured this is how my body worked. So I just accepted it as my health seemed good overall. I discovered you in a roundabout way. As I was watching podcasts on YouTube and found a channel for someone living a slow life, she mentioned in one of her videos that she was milling her own flour to make bread and how good it was nutritionally for you. Of course, this piqued my interest, and I started searching, and I came across one of your videos explaining the history of bread, and I knew right away in my bones that this was the answer. It's hard for me to explain, but I'm sure you hear this from others. It is a sign from God. As I continued to search about milling flour, simultaneously I was listening to a podcast from David Sinclair, longevity scientist, to pick up any knowledge on health and etc. And he mentioned as a side note about spermidine that was giving good indicators for longevity. And out of the blue, he said it comes from the wheat germ. I knew that was a sign from God that I was on the right track. I looked it up, and yes, it does come from the wheat germ. Different things like that kept happening, and I knew it was a sign for me to try it. I started looking for a grain mill, and this was in February 2026 when all the grain mills were sold out. And I got on a waiting list and patiently waited while devouring your podcast and others that talked about the benefits of freshly milled flour. I finally got my grain mill in mid-April 2026, so it's only been 3 months since I've been eating real bread, and I cannot believe how regular my bowel movements have become. In fact, I haven't missed one day. And as time goes on, it's getting better, the quality, and I know things will take time to heal as my body begins to get what it needs. I also noticed my skin has looked better, and I'm feeling better energy to boot. I have been eating bread, muffins 3 times a day and substitute it for my usual rice or oatmeal. It is so delicious and so exciting to be eating my favorite food as a kid. In parentheses, she says, bread with butter and mashed bananas for breakfast. I also noticed that I'm full much longer and the desire to snack has completely gone away. I still enjoy my mid-afternoon snack of a muffin and some yogurt, but I really don't even need to do it. For now, I'm enjoying the freedom of eating a muffin, knowing I'm also getting nutrition out of it, so I'm going to keep it in my routine. As I continue to listen to scientists and doctors about health, I always see the connection with eating real bread into their different scientific hypotheses for nutrients or lack of. It seems so black and white to me, and I'm so surprised that no one has looked at such a simple answer or entertained it. They always blame wheat, but it's misguided to say that. It's actually the flour. I found a podcast from Mark Hyman, MD, where his guest talked about buckwheat and the longevity and health benefits from that specific grain. I laughed as they are so close, but still missing the point and the solution. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for having such an impactful message and service for those who find your message and realize that it is the answer. I want to spread this knowledge, but as I'm learning, it's not that easy when so many people are scared to eat carbs or look at you sideways when you say you mill your own flour. I'm trying to lead by example, and if I think someone will be open to listening, I do tell the story and I share your video. I have been gifting muffins to people to thank them for things or celebrate things and laughing because I may become known as the muffin lady. Laugh out loud. I have been buying all my supplies from your store and the service and deliveries have been great. I now have acquired a wonderful selection of various kinds of wheat berries to try different recipes with, and your cookbook is so easy to follow. It's been so much fun, and knowing that I'm helping my health is even better. I believe this was the final missing piece to my diet, and I feel like I will continue to flourish in many ways as I get older. My goal in life is to live to 110 and carry my own groceries, and I know having real bread as a part of my diet will help me get there. Thank you again for your service and support. You are truly a blessing. I just love that story and that testimony. I hope this story encourages you as much as it has me. You know, I often hear people say that we make real bread made from freshly milled flour sound like some miracle cure. But, you know, in the words of Dr. Ben Rawl, author of the devotional Designed to Heal, in his podcast of the same name, our bodies are designed to heal by God. And if we supply our bodies with the nutrients it needs, it can often do just that, heal. Real whole grains are one of the most nutrient-dense food groups God has given us. Therefore, bread made with freshly milled flour is supplying our bodies with the nutrients it needs to sustain life and promote good health. So it is any wonder we hear so many "it's the bread" stories. And you know, years ago, I learned something. You simply cannot argue with someone's testimony. It's kind of like the story of the man born blind in the Bible who was healed by Jesus. When questioned extensively by the prideful Pharisees, he finally just gave up trying to answer them and simply said, "Look, I don't know who healed me, but this is what I do know. I was blind and now I see." And in the words of Hippocrates, let food be our medicine and medicine be our food. If that's the case, then why expect anything less from real bread supplying our bodies with nearly every nutrient we need? Thank you so much for listening today, and thank you for sharing your stories with me. Keep them coming. God can use them mightily to encourage someone else. Until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated, located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.